Sometimes, unfortunately, we have to learn by our own mistakes, by tripping over our own feet or doing something that didn't work out correctly or in the right way that we wanted it to work out. Because having those difficulties or those obstacles helps us grow. We have that ego, we have that stubbornness, and we have to sometimes see through all of that because it doesn't get us very far. It doesn't help the ones we love. Sometimes with those obstacles and that growth, it is tough. But when you get things or see things in a different perspective or do things differently because you learn from all that crazy stuff, then it can change everything for you. It can change everything for your caregiver. So when you're having a really bad day and you're like wanting to fight with your loved one, stop and take a breath and figure out like, hey, does not have to be hard. Let's make this easy. What does my mom or dad want? Take that ego out and take that selfishness out because it's all about your loved one and it's all about caring for them and being good to them. Today, we're going to talk about the 3 E's: empathy, having empathy. Do you ever hear that saying? Have you ever heard that saying, stop and smell the roses or stop and smell the flowers? Take the time and really dig into what's there, focus in on it, and be present. Just stop and take that moment and appreciate the things around you, the people around you. But having that empathy and seeing where someone else is by maybe they're not telling you something, but you can tell something's off. Having that empathy and that openness of communication is going to really help the moment. See the world from their perspective and try and step back and soften those hard moments with just listening and being more present and helping them that way, because that makes all the difference for people to move on and to just appreciate things, but also to help our loved one move on for the day, because something is obviously there, something might be bothering them. And once you get that obstacle out of the way, don't we all feel better when we grow or when we learn something and it was a big obstacle or it was very stressful? Because you don't want people to sit there in the moment just dwelling and thinking about this, and you're not really talking about it or helping them in the way that they really need it, because when you leave, it's still going to be on their mind. But if you help them address it, because someone says to you, I have a fear of having surgery, or I have a fear of this, then let's talk about that fear. Like, let's get some learning, let's education. Let's figure out why mom or dad feel this way, or what can we do to help? Is it just something simple that just needs to be moved in the house? I mean, we need to talk about that and have empathy for them. Maybe we feel a different way about things that are done in our house or the way we do things, but this is their house and we just want to be respectful and empathetic to their situation. The second one is encouragement. Encourage every single time. It might feel like a small win, but it's a big win, because every win is big, right? Because you weren't doing it before, you didn't have it before. We want to give that encouragement. A few kind words can change your outlook for the day, the week. You just kind of go back and you kind of smile to yourself, because hearing that person's words, your loved one's words, that, they just gave you the biggest smile, or they said something funny to you to make your day. And I remember one time when I was in the hospital when I was 18, and I had been there for a couple months. I was really sick, and my grandmother came in the room, and I'll never forget just having her there, how it changed my day, how it changed the week, because I still remembered her. Today, I still remember that. Like, she was there, she just walked in. Her smile lit up my day. I can still remember that. And in our hearts, we have that memory, and that helps us when we're having those hard days of growth or having those hard days of adjustment, because maybe there's something that is happening today with our loved ones that wasn't happening yesterday. And caregiving and life is ever changing. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be the same. It's always going to change, but that's okay. We just kind of pivot and we adjust and we see what we can do to help. Make those small wins be big wins for them. The next one is ease. Make life easier in whichever way that you can. When my father was more bedbound, the biggest thing was just comfort. Getting a pillow in the right place or a cushion in the right place. Sometimes he'd ask us to put something, he'd need to be boosted up on the bed because he'd fall a little bit down. Because when you have those electronic beds, they're great, but when you put the head up, their body kind of goes down to gravity. So Dad always had this cushion at the bottom, so his foot wasn't against, or his feet weren't against the footboard. So he would just ask, hey, can you get my head up? Or hey, can you position me? And there was one day actually that Dad was saying how his stuff kept falling. He had a box on his bed. He had a small box, so he could take his own medicines, and he had everything right there so he could reach them easily, because he didn't have the energy to sometimes reach for things on his table. He had his little inhaler in there and everything. So he had everything right there. But what was happening was sometimes he would drop something, or sometimes the box would spill. And when you have a hospital bed, the old hospital beds, they are just like a rail or two. So there's big open areas. And what Dad was saying was his stuff kept falling. And he's like, can you guys do something to put something over here for me? Not something too bulky, because I want to have the space, because it's not a very big bed. So my husband actually came up with, he went and got some cardboard. And then he got some of those, they're not twisty ties. I can't remember what the heck they're called, but they're these plastic things, and they tie, and they lock things into place, and you can cut the ends off. But they were great. So what my husband did was take this cardboard, put it down his side rail on his side, and then he locked it into place, so that now my dad had something that was very thin, took up not much room, and it made it so his stuff didn't fall on the floor anymore. So give that ease. Help wherever you can. This is not all written in a book somewhere a lot of times. It's just, something changes in the day. Okay, let's adjust, let's pivot, let's do something different. Let's make that ease. Let's make things easier and make that stress decrease for them. Create a better place and make them feel good, because they're still independent. They're still doing what they want to do as much as they can. Live to your fullest, and love and laughter is the greatest medicine, because you have these moments and you can kind of just chuckle and say, hey, remember this, Dad? And talk to him about that. And, and he can share now what you did with his bed, and just smile and laugh, like something so simple, but it made things so much easier for him. You guys have a great day. Take care.